Cimoooooooo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round one of the 2020 YugiTuber Grand Championship. So for this match, we have the Cross-Banlist King himself, Lithium2300, who where I drew the inspiration from for this first round. Obviously, it's not exactly like how he runs his Cross-Banlist Cup. Don't want to get those mixed up. But be sure to check out his channel so you can watch some more Cross-Banlist action if you've been enjoying this. But he's going up against up-and-comer Ruggles, just blew up on the YugiTubing scene with his incredible cinematics and his cool take on getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Be sure to check him out. I'll have their links down in the description. So, before we get into it, I do want to introduce our co-commentator, the one and only Mr. Joseph Rothschild, MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! Himself.
Hey, what's up? It's me. I've been here a couple of times now, and I could not be more happy to be casting an individual who is an inspiration to all of us, Lithium2300, and an individual who is intimidating to all of us insofar as his videos have actual editing quality that go into them. Ruggles, you're making me look bad. Come on.
But that's why we love him, though. He's special in that way. So, we're going to talk about what this round comprises of, because this isn't your normal tournament. If you're just joining us, each of these players were assigned a different year at random and had to pick a deck, of course, for that specific year that was native to that year, and then they're going up against each other. So, for this match, as you can see, Ruggles winning the die roll here. He got the year 2019, which is actually pretty good for him considering he just started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Again back within this last year, so he actually kind of knows Sky Striker, which it looks like that's what he picked. But going up against Lithium, who had 2008, I am very excited to see where this goes, because Lithium has played the game for as long as I have, so he knows all the decks, all the formats, so I'm sure he picked a good one.
I will say, if anyone is going to be able to pick up with a deck that is a decade older than its opponent, it's going to be Lithium. You know, the Cross-Banlist Cup master has to pilot these decks every year and does a fantastic job doing so. And Sky Striker is a known quantity, you know? We know what the deck does. We know what it's capable of. We know the power plays. And while it is consistent and does repeatedly draw a whole ton of cards, it doesn't do anything unexpected. Lithium is going to know what he's up against out of the starting gate.
Hey, Joseph.
Yeah.
Did you miss this card known as Sky Striker Mobilize Engage? Because I sure didn't.
You know, I do think it's pretty fair. You know, it only searches Sky Striker cards. You can only use it once per turn. I mean, how are you ever going to fire a second copy of this over the course of your combo? I think this could probably come back to 3, if not 4.
Man, this is a flashback for sure. I think it's really cool to see that Sky Striker in the current metagame, if you're following modern Yu-Gi-Oh, is still going strong, even with Engage Ban. That's just a testament to how powerful the deck really is that they didn't even necessarily need it. But Ruggles did search that Widow Anchor. He's going to go ahead and just set that to the field, probably tag out into a Shizuku. And on a pretty reasonable board for Sky Striker, you really can't complain if you've got multi-roll up and some cards in your back row. And going to do your patented Shizuku Shuffle, it looks like here. Let's see what he goes for.
Oh, looks like we're resolving into the opposite order. We've already got the Widow Anchor set, so not a huge priority to get a second one of those, because if you take it, you can't activate the second. Adding an Engage to hand, this is the Greedler's play, in which you reset your first Engage and search the second afterwards in order to, on the following turn, make an unbeatable series of interactive plays. Lithium is going to have to come out swinging if he wants to win this one.
You know, Ruggles just wants to have his time in the spotlight and just completely blow Lithium out in every way imaginable. So I'm perfectly fine with the double engage move. That is perfectly acceptable. So let's see what Lithium is on. I am so excited. I just need him to play a card so we know. It could be anything. Oh man, the suspense.
Oh,
was that a cold wave?
Oh, what did I say?
Is he
come out swinging? This is as hard as you can hit.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's the same stipulation as Extravagance. Has to start your turn, and it's Gladiator Beast.
Yes. Oh man, we we are going to be in for a match. 2008 old school Glad Beast going up against Sky Striker. Ruggles currently cold waved, so everything's offline. This Laquari is going to connect. Ruggles does get the Ray back, but now we get to tag out the Laquari.
Bestiari.
Go for the Bestiari. Bestiari can then pop a Speller Trap. We're going to pop that Widow Anchor. Oh man, this is going to be hype, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh wow. Gladiator Beast, the terror of my locals. Unfortunately not particularly good against a deck that churns through 2 or 3 monsters during the battle phase regardless, but a great way to prevent your opponent from activating cards like Widow Anchor. That Cold Wave hits hard, but the end board of Gladiator Beast, if it doesn't end on Geyserus, it's just not very powerful at all.
Anyone who says this card should come back needs to take a course in game design, because this card is so bad for the game.
So, people may have forgotten, Cold Wave is not until the end of the turn. It's until your next turn. So, Ruggles won't be able to fire the engage that he searched, won't be able to fire the engage that he set. We'll have to walk into this Bestiari in order to get it off the field and prevent Lithium from plussing further. That is a turn.
Yeah, and it looks like Ruggles is just passing with that. Cold Wave doing exactly what he wanted to here. Now, here's Lithium's opportunity to seize this and actually have a fighting chance, because the shields are down. You know almost everything in the hand. Here is Gladiator Proving Ground, the deck's Rhoda. I cannot believe this deck has a Rhoda that is not a hard once per turn. I still think that is absurd.
The new Gladiator Beast support really frightens me because they have a ton of these. A ton of cards that are limited or restricted in some capacity by hard once per turns that just don't have them. So if the deck ever does do anything competitively, it'll be able to do so with frightening consistency. You are seeing the same play that Lithium did last turn again, this time going to be able to either destroy this copy of Multi-Roll or banish the set copy of Engage.
Yep, so Laquari going to be the normal summon here. We're going to attack. Oh, we're going into, before we go to battle phase, we're going to Veiler the Laquari so that we don't get the tag out. Interesting.
Okay.
Very heads up there from Ruggles, because Effect Veiler does have to be used in the main phase.
Oh no.
We are still in the main phase, but here comes Monster Reborn.
Oh no.
And now we're going to grab a Bestiari here, and things are about to, might get really dicey here in a moment.
Well, it's fine. Lithium doesn't have a polymerization. I mean, there's no way you would make a fusion monster that can be summoned without polymerization. That would just be too many pluses.
Right, absolutely. I mean, he of course would need to do that, right?
Yeah, of course. Oh boy. And
oh boy,
there they
here we
go. Back
go.
into the deck with these two, and my old pal making his return to the field, Gladiator Beast Geyserus. There was a period in time when this was the most horrifying thing you could be staring down.
Yes, absolutely. So Geyserus does not need polymerization. You could tell we were being facetious there. You actually shuffle the cards back into your deck, and when it's special summoned, you target up to 2 cards on the field and destroy them. And after the battle phase, if it attacked, which it just did, he can then shuffle it back to the extra deck, summon out, and tag into another Gladiator Beast, and pretty much just reset again. Geyserus, or excuse me, 2 of them, not 1. So we're going to get double Laquari here. Geyserus was the bane of players' existence. There is a small subset of people that refer to Gladiator Beast as one of the true Tier 0 formats back in its time, because in context, there was no deck that did anything close to what Gladiator Beast did.
Yeah, Geyserus, when it was released, was a fundamental shift in the way removal spells operated. It just did so much for so little, and after getting value from being summoned and popping your opponent's cards, it got further value by tagging into additional Gladiator Beasts. You know, one of those could have easily been a Bestiari if Lithium wasn't trying to destroy his opponent's field spell. Gonna eat the engage this turn. Those set cards are gonna have to do something,
not.
but
Solemn Judgment.
Oh, wow. That's so strong.
God. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my god, the hype. Lithium might be able to nab this, and I'm not trying to play favorites, but I just want to see old school Gladiator Beast actually topple Sky Striker, even if it's 1 game.
So, I do think that telegraphs a second Solemn. You would never Solemn the engage unless your opponent has, unless you have 100% certainty they don't have another Ray. Ray, because a normal Ray really does blow you out. It looks like he's not even going to have to activate it here. That's 100% a hand trap, not even firing the Area Zero on that set card, too scared to die. It looks like we'll be able to tag out of the Laquari into some really powerful monsters.
Yeah, this is going to be a big swing in momentum here. If it wasn't already enough, Lithium going to swing over the Ash. Keep in mind the Laquaris were tagged into, and they gain 300 attack when they get special summoned. So they become 2100 attack original. They don't gain the 300 for people who want specifics. But that means he is able to hit over the 1800 defense of Ash Blossom. We're going to hit him directly, and then we could potentially tag out here. Looks like Lithium's perfectly content just leaving these two Laquaris on the field and making Ruggles have to answer them with his 3 back row in addition to that.
Do you remember when a 2100 attack vanilla was the most powerful thing you could be doing in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Again, this is one of the reasons why at the time the deck was so frightening, because there weren't cards that did this. Like, there was not cards that, like, tagged into one another, but also were statted higher on average than your typical card. The deck just had so many tools, so many options. We haven't even seen all of them yet, and this is going to be a show, for sure.
Okay, so we're firing off the Area Zero here. We found a Widow Anchor, and I believe we have 3 spells in graveyard, so it will take one of the Laquari should we so desire. An Upstart Goblin the Send here. We really, really need a way to get a Ray onto the field. That's the only way we walk out of this game alive.
All right, Ruggles just going to set one and pass. That is not where he needs to be. At the very least, he could use it defensively to, again, just kind of put things to a standstill, but he really just doesn't have the cards to do much here, and it's going to be rough. Lithium's in full control of this game at this point, and Gladiator Beast might be on the verge of picking up a game 1. We're going to see this Widow Anchor fire attempt to steal this Laquari. Just negating, not even, or maybe they are in a Discord chat, so maybe they just skipped a step, said, oh, hey, I'm going to take it, and then just end the battle phase. So
I do like refusing to interact with it. You have all the time in the world if you're Lithium, and he's walking away with the first game after a cold wave into Solemn Judgment. What an unreal start.
And keep in mind, Joseph, he went second. He went second and won that against what some people consider to be one of the best decks of all time, being Sky Striker. The deck still played today. The deck is incredible, probably has some of the greatest control game of any deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Gladiator Beast from 2008 walked with it.
All right, Ruggles, let's turn it on. We're going to activate Area Zero here, and Widow Anchor is a pretty good find. The best thing that set card could be, of course, is Metal Foes Fusion, but any spell is fine when you're trying to hit that critical 3 threshold. It's going to be a sent copy of Afterburner, a set 2, and a pass. Okay.
No Ray. That's a bit unfortunate. Again, Lithium having a pretty good window here. If there's like another cold wave, like this game could almost just be over.
A cold wave would lock it up, but unfortunately it looks like we don't have one. Of course, has to be activated at the start of your main phase 1. Darius is a pretty middling Gladiator Beast if you're not trying to combo off, but it does have the same effect as all the others, which is if it's battled, you can go ahead and shuffle it back in to summon another Gladiator Beast. We'll likely see a shuffle to get ourselves a copy of Bestiari and pop one of those 2 back row.
And we're not going to, because that Darius was met with an Ash Blossom. That effect happens at the end of the battle phase. So Darius is going to shuffle itself back into the deck for cost and not come back. Lithium's just going to set 3 and pass here. So a bit of a standstill here, but we're going to see if Ruggles can capitalize, maybe find himself a Ray. There's an engage. That's exactly what Ruggles needed. Yes, that is actually better than Ray.
So we've got 2 spells in graveyard. This will be the 3rd if it is a spell being destroyed off of the Area Zero. And then we can fire off the engage for the massive plus. And
the multi-roll. That is huge. This is going to be such a big turn for Ruggles here. Again, Lithium is playing Judgment, so there is the ability for Lithium to slow things down a bit here. He is going to let this engage resolve, though. That's going to tick up the multi-roll. Interesting that Ruggles opted to send the Widow Anchor to the grave. That could telegraph that his other set is a second anchor, potentially, because this is full power Sky Striker, so they do have it at 3. Here comes a Foolish Burial Goods now. We can just get more spells into the graveyard. We're going to get Metal Foes Fusion, as a matter of fact. Shuffle that back and draw ourselves a fresh card. Jamming Wave with the spells engrave. So now we can just pop this set card here. No monsters to pop, but still a good card nonetheless. It's basically MST at this point. Skill Drain is going to be the card that was set. And
super high impact. You got to be happy about that if you're Ruggles.
Yeah, looks like they are actually debating on the ruling of if Jamming Wave destroys Skill Drain, because it says target one set spell and trap card on the field, destroy it. Because it says it, I believe it should still be destroyed. I believe if it said that target, it wouldn't be. They're having a discussion because it is cross-format, so we'll have to see how this does play out. They might be going based in 2000. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go, to be honest.
I think Farf is correct in saying that if it said that target, it would have to destroy specifically the set card. And like you alluded to, because it says it, I believe it will.
Correct. So it looks like that is going to stick, that Skill Drain is no longer on the field. I think that's fine. I mean, Skill Drain against Sky Striker's, like, not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. There's definitely worse decks to be using Skill Drain against, that's for sure.
I mean, some people may not know, but oh wow, Twin Twister's such a big activation here. Some people may not know, Sky Striker at full power played a ton of floodgates just because they could, and it hurt your opponent more than you. Double Blackhorn the hit. Oof. Lithium's got to be feeling that.
Remember when Blackhorn of Heaven started seeing play again during hat format?
You had to do what you had to do.
Yes, you had to buy out all the ultimate rare first eds of Cyberdark Impact.
Exactly.
In any case, that's going to resolve. We're going to just multi-roll away now this Area 0, so that means we can get this Ray from the deck, and now we are just free to go off. We're going to swing for 15, we can tag out the Ray, we can go into Hayate, swing for another 15, send a spell. Main phase 2, we can go into Kagari, get the Engage back to hand. Ruggles is going to be in such a dominating position. I think it'll be his game to lose at this point.
For sure. I mean, you are seeing why people have called Sky Striker the most powerful deck of all time. And instances like this make me think that they're correct. Multi-roll turns on so much for the strategy. It's able to fetch Ray by destroying the field spell. It's able to prevent interaction with your spell activations. And most importantly, it's able to recycle based on the amount of Sky Striker spells you activate over the course of the turn, which on a windmill turn like this can be upwards of 3 or 4.
So it looks like we're going to get Shark Cannon off of this Engage, then we get a draw. Gotta love Pot of Greed. Going to go to Shizuku here. We've activated, what, 1, 2... We've activated somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 cards at this point that are Sky Striker named, so that multi-roll is going to be able to get a lot back. We're going to get back the Eagle Booster, Widow Anchor, Engage, and then we get the search off of Shizuku as well. So we're going to get a second Engage, and yeah, we just went from the field having like 2 cards on both players' field to Ruggles having 9 and Lithium drawing to 3.
And that's going to be a concession from Lithium. Not surprising. Pretty much nothing you could do in 2008 without that.
Now, Lithium does get to go first. This is the first game he gets to go first out of this set. Game 3, it's all on the line. Round 2, whoever wins gets to move on. Can Lithium mount a comeback going first with 2008 Gladiator Beast?
I'm going to take the under position here. I think he will. You know, there's one thing that Sky Strikers has in terms of a weakness that other 2019 decks don't, and that's they can run out of Rays. If Lithium is able to draw into the right combination of Horn of Heavens and Solemn Judgments, he can potentially prevent Ruggles from summoning at all. From that position, it's impossible to lose, and he's got a lot of really powerful cards to insulate that strategy. But if he identifies that as the winning line, and if he draws the right half of his deck, he'll be able to do it. Otherwise, Ruggles is going to walk with it.
So we saw a double activation of Gladiator Proving Ground, so that way we can search for both the Bestiaria and the Laquari. We're going to normal summon Laquari, set 2, and pass. I mean, again, this is pretty standard for Gladiator Beast openings as far as it goes from 2008. Like, yeah, they could have done some other things as well, but I mean, this was pretty normal for the most part.
No Test Panther combos back in 2008.
No, they had Test Tiger instead.
And Test Ape, don't forget Test Monkey.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. But now we're going to get to see Ruggles fire off this copy of Hornet Drones here. That's going to get met with Royal Oppression. If there's anything that's going to help Lithium, it's Royal Oppression. This is a very oppressive card, pun intended, because it's in the name, and this card is absolutely devastating.
Well, like I said, the way you win this game if you're Lithium is you're able to prevent your opponent from ever sticking a monster onto the board before they run out of rays, and Royal Oppression is a fantastic way to do that. Folks, there is a reason this card is banned. It is never coming back. It is so unbelievably strong, and you're about to see how over the course of this game.
All right, so Ruggles does have the engage, though, in the opener, so you really can't complain there. Let's see what he grabs off of it. Doesn't have 3 spells engraved, so he's just going to be getting a search. That's assuming this is allowed to resolve. It looks like we're waiting here. Lithium might be taking the time to think if he wants to let this resolve. Looks like he's checking through the extra deck and such.
This is rough.
He's going to fire off the Judgment. Wow. I was about to say, I think this is a very difficult decision.
Yeah, you have to, but if your opponent has another engage, it's just so absolutely punishing. You cannot allow them to find themselves a copy of Afterburners. If they do, you have lost the entire match. But it looks like the gamble pays off. Ruggles setting 2 and passing turn. One of those is not long for this world as this Laquari pivots into a Bestiarian. Lithium in the driver's seat for the moment. Will he stay that way?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he can just summon any other Glad Beast. We already know his Bestiary in hand. He can just attack, go to Geysars, pop both back row, and then just, I mean, he's going to be in such a phenomenal position at this point.
The one thing that complicates that play is the Royal Oppression
is
reciprocal.
For both players. Yes, I did forget that. So that is where this match is going to get rather interesting.
No, it's fair. See, it's fair.
Yeah, Lithium already has the monster stuck on the board. So at this point, he's the beatdown. But there's Cold Wave. This could be a huge momentum shift for Lithium here. And this is going to be a very interesting turn of events.
That was either a Rip 4 turn or the most impressive bait I've ever seen.
But that's going to be met with judgment.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ruggles needed that one for sure.
I don't know. If I'm Lithium, I'm pretty happy about that. You know, I can't mount an offensive over more than 3 turns because I have a Royal Oppression on my side of the field. If my opponent is voluntarily taking 4,000 and about to take another 18, they're really close to either lethal or being unable to prevent my special summons.
Okay, so another Laquari gonna get normal summoned here. This represents 3,600 damage, so it's not enough to take Ruggles out, but it's gonna put him dangerously close, and most importantly, it takes him out from being able to use Royal Oppression against Lithium.
The rich get richer!
So now we get to
the set card!
Gonna pop that set card, pretty much uncontested because Oppression will not be able to be used here. It is a Widow Anchor, so it looks like we're just going to fire that off because we can. Doesn't really matter too much at this point. We have both of our Gladiator Beasts on the field, and honestly, you could go into Geysars here, but like, I don't even know if you have to necessarily.
Yeah, it doesn't really accomplish anything other than get a larger body on board. I think you probably just pass here, but it's still a huge ask for Ruggles to come up with anything in the face of Royal Oppression.
This is going to be so close. I cannot believe Ruggles is only on 400 life, playing for his tournament life right now. This is going to be so hyped, because Gladiator Beast might be on the verge of winning a match against one of the best decks of all time. Twin Twister's a good one.
That's a start. Okay, we'll discard a copy of Shark Cannon here. That'll destroy the Royal Oppression. What's the last card, Ruggles? It's gotta be good.
It's a ring!
Oh, wow!
Oh, my God! That is the absolute perfect combination of cards that Ruggles could have had here, and I think Ruggles might be able to walk with this.
So turning the corner is obviously very difficult. You know, you do have to play perfectly from this position. You're only at 400. Ukazi beats you. But correct line is going into Kagari, getting that engage back, getting off to the races with something like a multi-roll or something like a Area 0. You do have 3 spells engraved, so you will be drawing the extra card. You have to drown your opponent in advantage and prevent them from ever getting back into this game. Oh, man, this is rough.
I think there's a line that he can just take it right here and now. It's just if he sees it. I think, well, it's hard too because it could maybe depend on the draw off engage, but at the very least, Ruggles will be able to clear off the board of Gladiator Beasts.
I do like going to the battle phase, easy walk over the Bestiari, and then in main phase 2 we can find an Afterburner over the course of a combo. Oh, but you gotta play careful.
Right, and this is so dangerous. Again, with Ruggles, it's such a low life total. We're going to fire off this engage, get the anchor. That's fine, too. I was going to say, Afterburner's also good, but I think anchor's fine because it also gives you insurance against other things as well. Ruggles is going to get that draw here. Are we going to see an engage into engage? If we do, I am going to absolutely lose it.
What was the rip?
Okay, we're just going to tag out into Shizuku.
Fine.
Okay, the Shizuku actually puts the Laquari too low to be able to attack. It puts it down 500 to 13 because there's 5 spells engraved. That's pretty big in this instance where literally every increment of 100 life points will make the difference here for Ruggles. He has the Widow Anchor to potentially steal a Laquari to thwart some of Lithium's plays, but literally like Cold Wave plus like a normal summon could potentially end this.
Yeah, there's a lot of blowouts in 2008, a lot of cards that equalize gummy board states. Not setting the card seems to telegraph a hand trap, and if it's something like an Ash Blossom, I mean, we've already closed the book on being able to activate cards like that. Oh, wow. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I was literally about to say the same thing. I cannot wait to see how this ends. Okay, Lithium's gonna draw. How is he going to navigate this? He knows there's an anchor set in the back row, presumably. I don't know what else that would be at this point. If not, that's the greatest bluff on the planet. But the thing is, there is also a Ray in the graveyard, so that is going to insulate Ruggles to a degree, if compared to it being something like Hornet Drones, right? So that does give him some sort of defense to mount if this Shizuku does get threatened. I don't think we know anything in Lithium's hand because we know he searched both Bestiari and Laquari. So at this point, it's just 3 unknowns. He's just gonna set.
Oh no, if he passes from here, it's the end of the game.
Ruggles saying in the chat that 2008 Gladiator Beast is his favorite deck of all time. Looks like...
Oh no!
Oh, he's going to contact Fuse for the Gyzaris!
So maybe potentially a misplay. You could have taken one of those. You can contact Fuse with face down, so specking that it's a Gladiator Beast, you can take it with the Widow Anchor, but just as good to take it from this position. Gyzaris' effect will activate, and I expect will be met with Widow. Let's find out.
Yep, Widow Anchor is going to be met here. I think that was like a 400 IQ play from Lithium setting because, again, he might have caught Ruggles off guard with the contact fuse capability here. So Ruggles is going to Widow Anchor this Gyzaris, and then Lithium's just going to set one and pass here. Gyzaris is rather big, to be fair, but the one downside is here, Ruggles did get a jamming wave in his hand off of Shizuku. So at the very least, the beginning of Ruggles' turn, he can just fire off jamming wave, gear it a Gyzaris, and as long as he gets any monster... Oh, it's skill drain.
Oh no, that's such a problem. Oh no, if it's not set, you can't fire it with jamming waves. Even if you do jamming waves your own spell from this position, you're destroying the Gyzaris, but at what cost? Your monster's at 1500. You can't link it off into anything whose attack will be higher. Any large Gladiator Beast could win you the game.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to activate Jamming Wave. We're going to destroy our own set Area 0 here. Then that means we can take care of the Gyzaris. The Area 0 triggers in the graveyard. That's able to summon a Ray, and Ruggles is going to walk with it.
Oh my gosh, what an insane series of plays. God. Prisma, the last card in hand, would have been able to do 200 damage over the Shizuku and set up for lethal. What an unreal hype game.
I am shaking. That was incredible. Just like the intensity of that match, the fact that Gladiator Beast was so close, and obviously hats off to Ruggles here for making it into the next round because, again, he did just recently return to the game. He may not be the most experienced with Sky Striker, but he managed to find a way to work around it, and he is moving on. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we will see you in the next match.